what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to JohnnyKpicks. And in this video, I'll be going over my full card picks and predictions along with the bets that I'm looking at so far for UFC Vegas 102 Cannonier versus Rodrigues. Now, first things first, please hit that like button for me, subscribe if you are new or if you just haven't yet, and turn on those notifications so you know when I put out my videos, when we go live on Wednesday nights. If I do anything else, you'll get notified. Leave some comments below how well you did at UFC 312. What fights you're looking forward to for this week, anything like that. Helps out the algorithm, all that stuff. And check out my Patreon, patreon.com/JohnnyKpicks. I put out all my early UFC content. I do UFC Survivor pools, other bets like NFL, Super Bowls is today or tonight. I'll have some up there for the chat and NBA, all that good stuff. So definitely check it out. UFC cheat sheets, $5.99 a month, not bad if you want to become a member, or you can become a free member as well, and you can join in the fun that way too. But yeah, last night was UFC 312, pretty good card. A lot of fighters were very untrustworthy, which I knew was going to happen, and unfortunately, it did not really go my way for my bets because it was a bad night. But for my picks, I went 8-3-1. The one is that draw. Kind of weird to me that it was a draw, but I guess it was a 10-8 in the first round for Crew. Or I think it was Crew, wasn't it? And now I'm second guessing myself if that's the right fight even. I think that's what it was. Yeah, I guess it was. I don't know. I mean, I've seen a lot worse rounds that weren't scored a 10-8, but it is what it is. Either way, who cares? But like I said, 8-3-1 for my picks. My bets, literally, they were just every person that I picked, or I should say bet, they just did not do what I thought they were going to do. Let's put it that way. So I lost about -5 units. No, not the greatest. So yeah, hoping to definitely come back for this card. Like I said before in some of the past videos, usually early in the year, the first 2 months, man, it's so hard. I don't know why for me. I've been doing this for about 3.5 years, almost 4. And every 2 months, the first 2 months of the year, I seem like I always struggle a bit, and I have to get myself out of the hole. And I start doing it like in like March, April, May, and then after that, it just depends on how well I do. So it is what it is. I see a trend for me, so take that with a grain of salt if you're looking at my picks. But let's jump right into UFC Vegas 102. Let's see, we got 13 fights here. A lot of them are pretty decent. A lot of them are pretty close. So let's see what happens. We got Gabriel Bonfim versus Chaos Williams. And Gabriel, super well-rounded guy. He's dangerous everywhere. He's dangerous on the feet, dangerous with his submissions, good grappling, has a crazy finish rate. I think he is in his last fight against Angelusa, who's pretty durable himself. He did get the win decision. I think that was his first decision win. Because like I said, most of the time he either gets a finish or he gets finished. So yeah, the only thing red flag with him is his cardio. He does tend to fade a little bit after a round and a half or so. So that's something to think about with him. Other than that, like I said, super dangerous early. Chaos Williams, he's a very powerful striker. He's got good leg kicks. He's durable himself. He has pretty good cardio. As the fight goes on with him, he does get a little sloppier. He's not the most technical guy, but he does struggle against technical guys too, or strikers. But not to say Gabriel is super technical, but he is pretty technical, I'd say. But Chaos is always live for a KO in any round. So whether he's tired, whether it's the third round, whether it's the first round, whether it's the first punch or the 40th punch, he can crack. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Bonfim just because I like his grappling. He can mix it up. Chaos is mainly a striker, so he wants to keep it on the feet. He does have decent takedown defense, but not a lot of guys are trying to take him down, actually. Like Carlston Harris wasn't able to really do it. Like he's fighting guys who aren't really crazy grapplers or wrestlers. Not to say Gabriel is, but I think he's probably the most dangerous grappler that he's probably fought as of yet, at least in the last 5 rounds, or I'm sorry, 5 fights. Maybe Harris, you would say, is a dangerous grappler, but I would definitely rate Gabriel's grappling more dangerous than Carlston. So give me Bonfim to win. I'm going to say submission, maybe in the second round, but it wouldn't shock me either if this fight goes to decision and maybe Bonfim wins a very close one, because I think Chaos probably wins round 3. You can maybe look at Chaos plus 3.5 spread, but that is very dangerous though, because like I said, Gabriel is dangerous everywhere. He can get a knockout. He can get a submission. I think that's probably his most easiest path to victory is by submission or grappling. So give me him to win by submission. Why not? Give it a shot. Probably going to stay away from that fight though. I'll be honest. Next one, Angela Hill versus Ketlin Souza. Angela Hill, she's 40 years old right now. She just turned 40 a little bit ago. Solid striker, throws tons of volume, but she doesn't really have the greatest power. Always pushing, try and push forward. She does have wrestling, some wrestling and grappling in her back pocket that she can use. She's used it in a couple of fights. I believe it was Denise Gomes fight. She did use it a lot. Obviously, the Luana Pinheiro fight, she got the submission. But yeah, I mean, she's got good cardio. She's durable, just not very dangerous anywhere. And she seems to make fights close, and she loses a lot of those close fights, kind of like a Sean Strickland, if you want to say. But Ketlin, though, solid striker. She's got power in her hands. We saw it in her last fight. She was able to knock out Yasmin, but Yasmin doesn't really have the greatest chin, as we all know now, even though she's a very good striker. But she does have some grappling and wrestling in her back pocket, too, that she can use, but she's primarily a striker. She does, like I said, I think I already said it. She likes to push forward, initiate, and she's durable. She can take a punch, and I don't think she's going to get finished. The only way Ketlin, I think, gets finished here if she gasses out, or maybe just gets caught in a guillotine or a rear naked choke or something like that, something crazy. I think if there is any finish, it's going to be on the Ketlin side. If this fight does go to decision, probably it will be a close one, 29-28, maybe split. But I'm going to go with the dog here. She's younger. I think she's more powerful. She's more dangerous. I think she can mix in the grappling and wrestling more so than Angela can. Ketlin will be stronger. I think she'll be bigger fighter as well, even though, they're both the same size and almost the same reach, but you're going to see someone a little bit stockier and a little bit stronger. And I think that's going to be Ketlin. So give me Ketlin to win. I'm going to say by decision, but it wouldn't shock me if it's maybe a finish by her. I think she's the side there's going to be a finish on. So if you're going to bet Angela Hill, might as well bet her by decision. I don't see her finishing Ketlin unless it's something fluky. So we'll see what happens. Next one, interesting fight here. Jared Gordon versus I think that's how you say it, Fernandes. But we got Gordon, well-rounded guy. He's a little older. He's 36 years old. Fernandes is 29. Solid striking. He's well-rounded. He's got good wrestling. He's got good grappling. His takedown defense, though, isn't the greatest, but I think he'll be okay in this fight. He's durable. He's got good cardio. He's good everywhere, but he's not dangerous really anywhere. He's not good, amazing anywhere, unless you want to say his durability and cardio. He's always down to fight. He's not gonna wither or anything like that. So that's one good thing, And obviously, we're gonna remember the Patty fight where he should have won that fight, but he's looking good against some guys right here. The Nasrat fight was very close too. So Fernandes, though, solid striker. He's got good power. He's got decent grappling, but he's a striker first, like I said. His takedown defense is okay. He's going to have to probably stuff some takedowns here. He does have slick combos. I think he's more dangerous, definitely on the feet. But I think Jared Gordon's wrestling will be good here. So this is a close fight. I wish it was lined a little closer, just for betting purposes, if you want to say. But I'm going to go with Jared Gordon. I think he can mix in the wrestling. I think he can dictate where this fight goes. I think, like I said, I think Fernandes will be the better striker. But as the fight goes on, too, I think Gordon gets a little bit better. I think he can get the takedowns easier, too. Fernandes might be dangerous early and look really good. This could be a good live betting spot. See how he looks maybe in the beginning of the second or maybe after a round and a half. But I'm going to go with Gordon to win by decision. I think it's going to be close again. Gordon is one of those guys, too. If it goes to decision, it likes to be close. And sometimes he's on the wrong end of it. But I think he does get this one done. Probably a close decision, like I said. So I'm not going to really bet this one. I maybe look at the overs. But Yeah, just gonna go with Gordon to win by decision. Just a gut feeling, but this one's gonna be a close one. I'm not really super confident. Next one, we got Rafael Estevam versus Jesus Aguilar. And Estevam is a very good grappler. He's got pretty good takedowns. He does have power in his hands. He's not really the most technical of strikers. He does want to get this fight to the mat. That's his bread and butter. He does have good ground and pound, good submissions, good top control. We did see it in the Charles Johnson fight where he was able to land a pretty decent amount of takedowns and able to win that fight. But it was close because he was a little gassed in the third. But he had to chain wrestle a lot because Charles Johnson has a good takedown defense. He has a good get up game. And, Johnson's cardio and durability is out of this world, except a couple of those fights he had where he took on short notice. But anyways, Jesus Aguilar, he's a pretty good grappler himself. He does have good submissions, a very nasty guillotines. That's something that Rafael needs to watch out for if he puts his head in the wrong spot. His striking is just okay. He's not very technical either. He does pack a punch if he does land solid. His takedowns are just okay. He's durable. He can get rocked on the feet, but he does have pretty good recoverability. He's looking good against, not the lower level flyweights, if you want to say. This Charles Johnson win from Rafael is a good win. Very good win. We haven't really seen him in a while, though. It's been a little over a year. So, I'm not worried about that. Just like a year or so that's where my cutoff is for being a tad worried, but I think he'll be okay in this fight. So I'm going to go with Rafael to win. I'm going to say he does find a finish, maybe in this, second round. I don't know if it's going to be by submission. Aguilar, I think he's been finished twice, and I do believe both of them have been by submission. Yeah, by submission. So let's go with Estevam to win by submission in the second round. I think Estevam is going to be the guy that's going to be grappling on and get the takedowns and be the one on top. Like I said, Aguilar just has a very good guillotine that he has to watch out for, but that can only get you so far. Once you get to the upper level competition of the UFC, guillotines very rarely work the way that, he probably remembers winning a lot by guillotine. But I think Estevam's grappling is good enough where he's not going to put himself in harm's way and be submitted that way. And I don't think Aguilar is going to be able to win the minutes. I'd be shocked if he does. Let's put it that way. So give me Estevam, like I said, to win by submission. Second, maybe third round, but I'm going to say second. Next one, Walter Walker versus Don Tail Mays. And yeah, we got Walter Walker, who is the brother of Johnny Walker. Solid wrestler. Okay takedowns. His striking isn't the greatest. He wants to get this fight to the mat. He wants to take you down. He wants to be on top and will land some ground and pound. That's his bread and butter. He definitely wants to look to get the fight to the mat. That's what he wants to do. He doesn't really want to stay on the feet. His cardio is pretty decent for doing that for all 3 rounds. He does slow down as the fight goes on. So that's Walker in a nutshell. We got Dontel Mays, who, he's an okay striker. He's very low volume. He does pack a punch. If he lands, he's got good power, like I said. He can wrestle. We haven't really seen a lot of it. He's okay everywhere, but just not great anywhere. He's very slow. He's got pretty good durability. He does fade as the fight goes on. Very low volume after the first round. Takedown defense is pretty okay. But he can be taken down. He has a better get up game than I would say takedown defense. But if it is up against the cage, he does do pretty decent too. So I'm gonna go with Walter Walker. I know Mays is my guy. I usually have been picking him, but I think Walker is gonna get more takedowns to win this fight. It's pretty much how it's gonna happen. And Mays is not going to be able to do anything except stuff takedowns and try to get up. I don't see him landing a lot of good shots. Maybe early he does, but I think Walker wins this fight. I'm going to be looking at the over in this fight. If it's set at 1.5, I'm going to be smashing that. I will say that right now. But if it's set at 2.5, I still think that hits, but it just depends on the price. If it's close to a plus money or is plus money, I will look at that a little harder than maybe I would for an over 2.5 at a heavyweight fight. But I do think this fight goes over. Walker's probably going to get takedowns and Mays is just going to survive. So give me Walker to win. I'm going to say by decision. Next one, we got Vince Morales versus Elijah Smith. Let's see. Vince Morales, he's a solid striker. He's got pretty good power in his hands. Not really too much of a wrestler, but he can mix it in here and there. He likes to push forward. He doesn't really check leg kicks. His takedown defense isn't the greatest. He can slow down as the fight goes on, but he's a solid fighter. Very durable. As I don't think he's got 8 losses, but a lot. I think most of them have been by decision, to be honest. Oh, submission. Okay. Yeah, most of them have been by decision, but I know one of the KO losses, I think that was against Jonathan Martinez or Chris Gutierrez. Same, another good leg kicker. So that's why I said he doesn't really check his leg kicks. Elijah Smith, though, he's making his UFC debut. He's a well-rounded guy. I would say his grappling and wrestling is his bread and butter. He's a little bit better than his striking. Not to say that his striking is bad, but he does look to shoot takedowns, get this fight to the mat. He's got good top control, good cardio to do that for 3 rounds too. He's just young, and he's making his UFC debut. He's 22 years old. So it's a little bit of red flag. Not to say, Morales is some world beater, but I think he's beatable. I think Smith has the tools to do it. It's just, I don't know if he's gonna do it because it's hard to back these young UFC debut guys making their are off the Dana White Contender Series. So give me Elijah Smith. I'm going to say he does win this fight. I'm going to say by decision. I think he does get that wrestling going. I think he can get the fight to the mat. I'll just maybe watch him after the first round. Maybe Morales does pretty decent. But like I said, Morales does slow down a little bit as the fight goes on. And I think Smith doesn't. I think he's pretty consistent with his pressure and pace for all 3 rounds with his wrestling. But I'm going to go back to this. Cody Steele, the last card, tried 2 takedowns, and that's it. I'm hoping Elijah doesn't do that. I'm hoping he still tries to go for it. But that's what worries me. If it was closer to a pick'em, I would maybe look at it, but I'm just going to stay away from this fight. Maybe look at the overs. That might be a good one. But give me Smith to win by decision. Next one, Julia Avila versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti. And Avila, she's got solid striking, okay power. She can wrestle and grapple. She's not very active. She fought last about a little over a year, but before that, it was like 2.5 years ago. So she's really only fought 2 times in the last, 4 years, if you want to say 3.5, 4 years. She's 36 years old. I'm going to throw that out there as well. She did lose to Miesha Tate, who I think is older than her, maybe. So that's not really the greatest look. And we got Jacqueline Cavalcanti, who's a good striker. She's got very quick hands. She throws a lot of volume with very good kicks. She likes to push forward. She can mix in the takedown, but she does mainly keep it on the feet. She's mainly a striker. She's durable. Good cardio for 3 rounds. This is a pretty easy pick for me. This is Cavalcanti all day, twice on Sunday. I think she wins by decision more than likely. Maybe there's a late finish because maybe Avila maybe she's, kind of tuckers out in the 3rd round, but I think Cavalcanti wins this fight 8 out of 10 times, maybe even 9. One of my more confident picks of the card here. So give me Cavalcanti to win by decision. I'm not going to really break this down anymore. Cavalcanti is better. Main card, Rodolfo Vieira versus Andre Petroski, and the battle of the 2 fighters that are very, very similar. Very similar. Vieira is a very good grappler. He's got very good submissions, especially when he's on top. Okay takedowns. His striking is okay as well. He does pack a punch if he does land. He slows down as the fight goes on, maybe after 2 rounds, but it also just depends on how crazy of a pace he's pushing. His striking defense isn't the greatest, but he is pretty durable. The only time he really gassed out was his first one of his against Fluffy, where he was going for the submission for the whole first round and he didn't get it and he just gassed out. But that was 4 years ago. He couldn't get a takedown against Chris Curtis, so he was getting outworked on the feet, and that's why he lost that fight. But he was able to submit Petrosian, who's not a grappler. He was able to submit Cody Brundage, who's not good, and also submit Dustin Stolfus, who's not that great either. And then we got Andre Petroski, who's a very good wrestler. He's got good grappling too, with good submissions. Striking is just okay. He does have power on the feet. He just throws 1 He's basically an overhand right guy. That's about it on the feet. He does have he has 2 different gas tanks, like they always like to say. When he's on the feet a lot, he looks like he's gassed, but man, if he gets his fight to the mat, he has cardio for 3 rounds. It's crazy. I don't know. Like, he's one of the only fighters that I can see has 2 different gas tanks. If it's on the mat, very good gas tank. If it's on the feet after a round or 2, he looks like he's death gassed. So, but he does fade a little bit as the fight goes on. Hasn't really got a lot of submissions as of late, or finishes, if you want to say. But he's getting those takedowns. He beat Budka, who's not good. He's coming up here. He beat Josh Fremd, who's not that great. Weird fight there for Jason Malkoon, and then he was able to barely beat Mearshart, which that was a very close fight. Could have won either way. I think this fight's close. I know there's going to be a lot of people on Vieira, but I keep coming back to the wrestling and who has the better wrestling, and I think that's clearly going to be Andre. I think Andre's grappling is good enough to not put himself in any harm's way, especially if Andre's on top. Now, if he does get taken down, he could be in some world of trouble because Rodolfo is very good when he's on top. On the feet, I think it cancels each other out. It's just pick your poison. So to me, I think this should be more closely lined, honestly. So I'm going to go with Petroski as a dog here. I think he gets the takedowns, especially later in the fight. I just don't think Rodolfo's takedowns are all that great. And I think Petroski can stuff the majority of them. And maybe even just, I just think Vieira gasses out a little bit more too. So it's a weird fight. I don't know. We'll see what happens with this one. I want to see where the line goes. Maybe it shortens up a little bit. But this is a close fight. I'm going to go with the dog. Give me Petroski to win by decision. He's not really finishing anybody unless Vieira gasses out and maybe gets submitted like Fluffy did. Maybe not that crazy, but I can see Petroski getting like a guillotine or a Darce choke or something like that later in the fight. But Petroski by decision. That's my pick. Let's go. Next one, Edmund Shahbazyan versus Dylan Budka. There's Budka. I told you he was coming up here. Oh, Edmund Shahbazyan. Very good striker. Very good power. Always dangerous on the feet. But takedown defense is terrible. He does not know how to get back up. He seems like he just crumbles every time he gets taken down. But if this fight's on the feet and he can stuff the takedowns, he is dangerous. But that's a big if. Dylan Budka, though, he's a pretty good grappler, pretty good wrestler. He does decent takedowns. He's very durable. If he gets on top, he's got pretty good top control. His striking is okay, but we've seen it in his last couple fights. He wants to try to get this fight to the mat. His takedown defense is okay, but I don't think Edmund's going to be shooting. But yeah, this fight, I wouldn't not mind anybody taking a shot on Budka to win at plus 230. You cannot trust Shahbazyan whatsoever. So I want to tell everybody, please don't bet Edmund Shahbazyan or parlay him. If you're going to bet him, just bet him by KO. But I'm picking Edmund to win. I just don't think Budka's good. And Edmund is just untrustworthy, but he's got very, very good striking. He's very dangerous on his feet. And maybe he clips Budka. But yeah, I'm staying away from this fight. Not confident because I don't trust Edmund. I don't think Budka's good, and I don't trust Edmund. So that's not a good combination to bet and or pick. But I'm going to pick Edmund to win. KO. Second round. Next one, Jose Delgado versus Connor Matthews. And Jose is making his UFC debut. He's a solid striker. He's got good power in his hands, good kicks. He can wrestle and grapple, but he probably keeps it on the feet more so than not. And then we got Connor Matthews, who's a pretty good striker himself, high volume. Maybe not the most dangerous guy. He does like to push forward. He's very hittable on the feet. He is pretty durable. He can wrestle too, but he also probably wants to keep it on the feet more so than not. Like I said before earlier, like with the Elijah Smith fight, it's hard to trust these UFC debut guys off the Dana White Contender Series against somebody pretty solid. And I think Connor Matthews is pretty decent. Like, he's not amazing. He's not going to be a top guy by any means, but I think Delgado is just a little more dangerous. I think he's a little bit more well-rounded as well. So give me Delgado to win. I'm going to say by decision. I think I don't really like the lines either in this one. Maybe look at the overs in this one too. But yeah, I'm going to go with Delgado to win by decision. But again, I'm probably going to stay away from betting and just to see how everything plays out. But I like this line a little bit better than Smith's line. Let's put it that way. But I don't know if it's going to be enough to put him in anything. I'm not going to bet him straight because that's weird. So next one. Ismail Bonfim versus Nazim Sadykhov, and the other Bonfim brother. Maybe not the better of the two, but he's a very dangerous striker. He always likes to push forward. He's going to come in. He can, he is a little hittable when he does it. Sometimes he can be a little too aggressive, but he's powerful. He has pretty good takedowns and grappling if need be, but he's primarily a striker. But unlike his brother, where his brother can go either way, on the mat or on the stay on the feet. But Nazim, though, he's a well-rounded guy. Solid striker too. Got good power. He likes to push forward. He's got good grappling and wrestling. I think he's the one in this fight that might mix in the takedowns more so. Is he the more dangerous guy maybe on the feet? I would maybe give that to Bonfim, but I think, Nazim is pretty dangerous himself. I think he's very durable. He's got good cardio. But yeah, this is going to be a fun fight. I'm just going to go with the dog. I think I'm going to go with Nazim to win. Like I said, I think he's going to be the one to mix in the takedowns if there's anybody to do it. On the feet, I do think it's close. I would maybe edge Bonfim just because he might be a little bit more dangerous, but I like Nazim's durability. I like his cardio a little bit more too. And I think he gets this one done. I think it's going to be a close fight. I'm going to say it goes to decision. I think it's going to be a fun fight. But give me Nazim to win by decision. Just a gut feeling. I feel it, but we'll see what happens. Co-main event, Cavalcanti versus Youssef Zalal, and Cavalcanti's 36. I thought he was a little older than that, but very good boxer. He likes to push forward, throws tons of volume. He's hittable, but he's got good power in his hands. He's not really like a crazy KO guy by any means. His takedown defense is good. Unfortunately, Aljo was able to basically take him down at will. But that's Aljo. So Zalal, though, well-rounded guy, solid striking. He stays at range very well. Lately, he's been looking pretty dangerous on the mat. He's been getting a lot of submissions. He's got 5 finishes in a row, 4 by submission in a row. He can grapple clearly. He's durable. He's got good cardio. He's young. He's 28 years old. He's in his prime right now. He was cut at one point in the UFC, but then they brought him back, and he's been killing it since. I got to go with Zalal here. Again, this is one of my more confident picks too. He can definitely take this fight to the mat. On the feet, I think it's going to be pretty close. Kattar's going to have maybe the better boxing, but Zalal is a little bit more dynamic. He's got good kicks. He's got better kickboxing. But I think Zalal is going to mix in the takedowns. She should maybe wear out Kattar a little bit too, and then Zalal just pushes the pressure. Zalal is always good in the third round, so that's something to think about too, if the fight even gets there. But yeah, give me Zalal to win. I'm gonna say by decision. I don't think he's gonna be able to submit Kattar. If Aljo wasn't able to, I don't think Zalal will. So I think I'm pretty confident in this one. So give me Zalal to win by decision. And we got the main event. It's going to be Jared Cannonier versus Gregory Rodrigues. And we got Cannonier, who's a powerful striker, 40 years old right now, but he does have pretty decent volume, strong leg kicks, okay takedown defense. He does slow down a little bit as the fight goes on with his volume, but he is super durable. But lately, he's been getting KO'd. He got, he got KO'd against Imavov, but the Kaio fight was very fun, but he was getting pieced up later in the fight. Which could happen here. But he's always durable. He's always going to stay in there for and fight for your money. But we got Gregory Rodrigues, who's a well-rounded guy, very powerful striker. He is pretty durable. He did get knocked out, a couple times here and there, but he does have wrestling and grappling in his back pocket that he can use, which I do suggest he does use. He can be a little hittable though, which does worry me because Cannonier can pack a punch, especially early in the fight. But as the fight goes on, that power wanes a little bit, and so does the volume. But for Jared, but I got to go with Robo Cop here. Gregory Rodrigues. I think he wins this fight. I do think he gets a finish maybe later on in the fight, maybe by a submission. Maybe he rocks Jared, and maybe goes for a rear naked choke or something like that. But I'm going to say Gregory gets it done. I was saying the third round, maybe fourth. If this fight does get into the fourth round, it'd be interesting to see what happens. Let's put it that way, because I think both guys kind of slow down a little bit after the third or 2.5 rounds, if you want to say. Maybe the unders will be good depending on what's set at, but both guys are dangerous. Both guys can be finished, and I'm just gonna go with Rodrigues. Medium confident. I think he gets it done. I don't know if I'm gonna put him in anything. I don't think it's a bad idea. I don't think it's the best idea either. So take it for what it's worth, but that's what I think. Rodrigues by finish. I don't even know how. I'm just going to say by finish. Third or fourth round. But all right, guys, that is it. That's all 13 fights for UFC Vegas 102. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Wednesday night, as always, we're going to do Defend Your Units. I have a special guest, Dr. Sorwitz, that we've had on before in the past. I'm going to get him on a couple more times. It's a cool dude. He knows a lot of fighters too, so that'll be fun. Might have some inside information, so definitely want to tune in. And by fighters, I mean a lot of fighters on this card. So we might have some inside information if you want to join us on Wednesday. But yeah, that's all I got. Hopefully my bets and picks will be a little bit better this week and come back a little bit, but we'll see what happens. But like I said, please hit the like button, and we will see you next time Wednesday night on Defend Your Units. Take care. Good luck with your Super Bowl bets. Happy fight night.